A calm Sunday morning. The sun glinted off the tranquil waters of Pearl Harbor. Sailors enjoyed breakfast, unaware of the impending doom. Suddenly, the sky roared with the deafening drone of aircraft engines. Japanese planes, adorned with the rising sun, filled the Hawaiian sky. It was December 7, 1941, a date that would forever be etched in American memory as a date which will live in infamy. Torpedoes ripped through the hulls of unsuspecting battleships. Bombs rained down on the harbor, transforming the once peaceful paradise into a scene of fiery chaos. The USS Arizona, struck by an armor-piercing bomb, erupted in a catastrophic explosion, taking over 1,000 lives with it. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a calculated act of aggression, a desperate gamble by Japan to cripple the United States Pacific Fleet and pave the way for their expansionist ambitions in Southeast Asia. Japan, a burgeoning military power in the Pacific, sought to secure its dominance in the region. The United States, though sympathetic to the plight of nations resisting Axis aggression in Europe and Asia, clung to a policy of isolationism. The attack on Pearl Harbor shattered this illusion of neutrality. The American public, enraged by the surprise attack and the heavy losses inflicted, demanded retribution. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, in a stirring address to Congress, declared war on Japan, his words echoing the nation's unified resolve. Yesterday, December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. With this declaration, the United States was thrust into the global conflict, its industrial might and unwavering spirit now pitted against the Axis powers. The early months of the Pacific War were a period of sobering defeats for the United States. Japan, emboldened by its early victories, continued its relentless advance, capturing territories across Southeast Asia and the Pacific. The Doolittle Raid, a daring bombing raid on Tokyo led by Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle, provided a much-needed morale boost for the United States. While strategically insignificant, the raid demonstrated America's resolve and shook the Japanese people's belief in their nation's invulnerability. The tide began to turn at the Battle of Midway, a pivotal naval battle that marked a turning point in the Pacific War. The U.S. Navy, aided by codebreakers who had deciphered Japanese communications, dealt a crushing blow to the Imperial Japanese Navy, sinking 4 Japanese aircraft carriers while losing only one of their own. Midway shattered Japan's offensive capabilities and shifted the balance of power in the Pacific. Following the victory at Midway, the United States adopted a strategy of island hopping, aiming to capture strategically important islands while bypassing heavily fortified Japanese strongholds. Each island captured served as a stepping stone, bringing American forces closer to the Japanese mainland. The battles fought on these islands were some of the most brutal of the war, marked by fierce resistance from Japanese soldiers fighting with the belief that surrender was dishonorable. Guadalcanal, a grueling 6-month campaign, saw American forces wrest control of a strategically vital airfield from the Japanese. Iwo Jima, a desolate volcanic island, became a symbol of Japanese fanaticism and the ferocity of the fighting in the Pacific. The iconic photograph of 6 U.S. Marines raising the American flag atop Mount Suribachi captured the spirit and sacrifice of the island hopping campaign. While the Pacific War raged, another pivotal front in World War II unfolded in Europe. The Allied forces, led by the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union, faced the formidable might of Nazi Germany. By 1944, after years of fighting in North Africa and Italy, the Allies were poised to launch a massive invasion of Nazi-occupied France, an operation codenamed Overlord, but forever remembered as D-Day. The success of D-Day hinged on meticulous planning, technological innovation, and the unwavering courage of the Allied soldiers. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the supreme Allied commander, faced the daunting task of coordinating the largest amphibious invasion in history. Over 150,000 troops, supported by thousands of ships and aircraft, were to storm the beaches of Normandy, France on June 6, 1944. The first wave of Allied troops landed on the beaches of Normandy under a hail of German gunfire. The beaches, codenamed Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword, became scenes of intense fighting, with heavy casualties on both sides. Despite facing fierce resistance, the Allies gained a foothold on the continent, and the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi tyranny had begun. The D-Day landings marked a turning point in the war in Europe. The liberation of Paris followed in August 1944, and the Allied armies pushed eastward into Germany. Despite a last-ditch German offensive in the Ardennes forest, known as the Battle of the Bulge, the outcome was inevitable. On May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered unconditionally, marking the end of the war in Europe. As the Allied forces closed in on Japan, the Japanese government, led by the Emperor Hirohito, refused to surrender. Determined to avoid a costly invasion of the Japanese mainland, the United States, after much deliberation and with the goal of ending the war swiftly, made the fateful decision to use atomic bombs. On August 6, 1945, an American B-29 bomber dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, instantly killing tens of thousands of people. 3 days later, a second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, resulting in further devastation and loss of life. Faced with the overwhelming destructive power of the atomic bombs and the Soviet Union's declaration of war against Japan, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender on August 15, 1945. World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history, was finally over. The war had left an indelible mark on the world, reshaping the global order and ushering in the atomic age. The legacy of World War II is complex and multifaceted. The war led to the rise of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers, setting the stage for the Cold War. It also resulted in the formation of the United Nations, a global organization dedicated to maintaining international peace and security. The horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime, served as a stark reminder of the dangers of hatred and intolerance, leading to a global movement for human rights and the establishment of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The world rebuilt from the ashes of World War II, forever changed by the conflict's profound impact on human history. The lessons learned from the war, the importance of international cooperation, the dangers of unchecked aggression, and the need to safeguard human rights, continue to resonate today, serving as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the enduring responsibility to strive for a more just and peaceful world.